Here he is, the Liverpool fan. That I'm
First
just
of
gonna
all,
let you go from here, man. I'm not even gonna bring you into this, man. You
first of all, I have
talk.
to say good evening, gents. But gee, thank you for showing up because
You know,
mate, I don't know how you do that. I'll be
any
hiding.
day, mate. Any day.
You should be hiding right because United fans like it's embarrassing.
Never hide.
But
Never hide.
do you know what? Right, Man United came into this with a bit of form. Right, they won the Man City trophy. They're in the
Man,
they're,
Wicked
they're in
save.
the Europa League. No, sorry, Europa Conference League against Barca. Right, so it was a good game. You know, they went through. So with a bit of form and Gary Neville giving it a large on Sky Sports saying this, that, and the other, and rightly so, right? Because they've done really well in the last few months. But today, you know, the first 25 minutes, we should have been 2 or 3 up easily. United had better of the first half and could have scored, could have also
yeah.
scored a couple of goals. But then it was men against boys. You know, we taught them a footballing lesson. And you know your
So, Sartre's come with his Weetabix, huh?
your Casemiros and the butcher. He was, where did he go? Running off, right, like a pussy. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, come on, G, 7-0, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've got a cousin who support in Leicester who supports Man United, and he was.
Is
And
he still crying? Yeah.
me and him had bants, right? But he just went quiet. And you know, we did you what 4-0 last season at can't remember, was it
5.
Anfield? 5 at and OT, right? 7 this time round. What's going on, man? You know, you let in about 5
Yeah, yeah. We let Liverpool have
Man
their
City.
final today, innit? Yeah.
But you know what's gonna happen now, right? Where
You're
gaming
gonna go and
has,
lose your next game 3-0.
yeah. Well, gaming has 6 points behind United. All I can see is get the fish and reel out. We're gonna reel you in, boys, because you know 13 out.
Let's see.
He's on
Let's see.
fire, man. Give him some water.
He is, isn't it? He's yeah. Give him
Thir-
some water.
Fire.
13 out of 15, right? 5 clean sheets. Tough games against City and Chelsea. You know, Chelsea. I watched a bit of the Chelsea game live over the weekend. And then I switched to the Arsenal game because it was all happening there, and you know, like a really good win for them in the end. So I think they're set up quite nicely. But yeah, today 7-0. I mean, you know, some of the players like Roberto Firmino, what a legend. Won everything is with Liverpool leaving on a free transfer in the 8 seasons, done really well for what he brings to the team. You know, there was doubts about Cody Gakpo. I even had doubts. I was, what does this guy actually bring? But you know what? He's starting to settle in. 38 million in a few seasons probably seemed like a bargain, right? So looking good. Diogo Jota's back. Nunes, you know, he's doing his thing now. Starting to do his thing. I think next season he's just gonna go. He's just gonna explode. Interesting that he plays him on the left hand side. So when Luis Diaz is back, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the situation is there. I was gonna ask VJ. So we're linked with Mason Mount. Strong links. I think he's a good player, but you know how highly
He's come, like he missed last week and he's making up for that and episode 3 and everything, man. He's just coming with the fire, man. And I wouldn't listen if Tottenham beat Arsenal 7-0, mate. I'd be in the same place as you, mate. You know what I mean? I'd be smashing it as well. So let's go back to the game. G, you didn't actually get a chance to respond to what Sully said.
So I think look, the first half I thought was quite even, right? And if we're looking at it in terms of the actual game, we shouldn't have conceded that late in the first half. That kind of gave the impetus to Liverpool, right? And you know, even Gary Neville, I think, said that it was probably the best sort of away performance in trying to keep it at 0-0 and then sort of impose ourselves in the second half. Obviously, that didn't happen. That goal that we conceded, that was a great finish, yeah? Like from Gapco, that was a great finish because he had stuff to do there. He had to move the ball and then get it to come outside of the post and back in. And that was a really, really good finish. And that sort of deflated us. I don't know what was said at halftime. You know, they were all sort of given their Space Jam, you know, bits. And then they came out in the second half and got absolutely destroyed. Now, in terms of the sort of collapse, what worries me is how good the players are in terms of that back line. And maybe they've been sort of playing above their station in the last few weeks, but the reality is they were destroyed at will by Liverpool. And if that game went on for another 10 more minutes, that would have been 10-0. Right? So it became the goal that really annoyed me was when Luke Shaw tried to clear the ball. Don't know if you saw that. And he actually just it looked like a lazy kick against the Liverpool player. And then Dalot was behind the line for one of the other goals. This is the thing that I'm saying. When we're reliant on Rashford for all the goals, we struggle. Yeah, like we genuinely struggle. And now you saw what happens when you've got 3 really good forwards, and then you've got other forwards coming off the bench. So kudos to Liverpool for playing really, really well in the second half. But in that first half, that game was evenly matched to the point where either one of us could have taken the lead. And what was shocking was how tactically inept we were, because if I look at that, you can see the imbalance straight away, can't you? Right? How literally you could have 5 against 2 every time our 3 were up in the final third, and they picked us off. So 2 of the goals we conceded was from a corner in their half. So it's like,
do you think you got the formation wrong, G? Because you got Casemiro and Fred up against obviously you've gone 2 attacking. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, basically, it's not just it's Casemiro and Fred versus the 3 midfielders and the 2 wingers, right? Because essentially that's how Robertson and Trent play, and Trent had a really good game as well. Yeah, and his
Robertson
quality
was
is
awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, Robertson's assist was outstanding. But look at the finishes, right? The one-touch finish from Salah, that's just class. Like, no one's stopping that. You could have 2 goalkeepers and no one's stopping that. But I thought we got bullied a bit.
When Man United have been away this season and picked up results, what have they done differently in the Big Six? So what has been the game plan to pick up results on the road against the Liverpools? Obviously not the Liverpools, but against the other big teams. How have you won it? Is it by soaking up pressure and releasing Rashford?
I think so, but I think we also play our triangles really well, and I think I mentioned that last time as well. We can get ourselves out of trouble, but today we got bullied, right? And one of the things that was really obvious was Martinez's height and Shaw's height when it was coming in from Nunes and Canate. Yeah, we were losing that all day long. So aerial battles were being lost. You had scenarios where the second ball, if you watch that game, it's not the first pass. Usually United get the first pass in, they might pick up 50-50. Liverpool were winning every 50-50. And, they were hungry for it. And I think when Milner started doing sort of drag backs and step overs, right, and we can make all the Zimmer frame jokes around him, the reality is that's a bad day at the office for United. You don't want to be that person on the coach.
So are you
no one's talking to anybody on that coach today.
Are you blaming the players over the manager on this one? So you're saying that the tactics were okay, it's just the players that didn't want the second balls, or are you blaming the manager?
Yeah, I think it wasn't like a derby game, as Ricky said. Usually Liverpool Man United is like an FA Cup, crunching tackle sort of game. They're almost too nice about it, and there were times where I just thought we gave up after 3-4-0. Do you know what I mean? Like that was just poor from that perspective. And at that point, I'm pulling off my best players and just putting them on the bench. If that's over,
body language wasn't there, was it? Like the big players.
It's horrid. It's horrid to watch, and it's only a second half performance. That's the thing. To lose 6 goals in a half. That's Roy of the Rovers stuff.
I don't think that's been done. I don't think that's ever been done in the Premier League.
We've managed it, so thank you very much. We won the cup and we managed that this week.
I partly agree. I partly agree with Gary Neville's assessment, where it's not a freak result because we played really well in the second half, but these things can happen. So against Madrid, we were the better team in the first half by far, and then they scored 5 goals in the second half. Where did that come from? We were the better team in the final last season. Their goalkeeper was man of the match. That tells a story in itself. Now, with United, the Anfield atmosphere, it can get to the best of people. So, and I think that today it happened. I think that they talk about the power of Anfield, and I think United felt that today, and they just completely capitulated. And G's right. It could have been about 10. Could have been 10 hags, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It could have been, but look, the other thing is Mourinho said this, right, and I always remember this. He said you'd rather lose one game 6-0 than lose 6 games 1-0. So I think there's a big piece of how we bounce back from this, how many points we're sort of collecting. I've always said that we're not in the title race until such a point that changes. That's not going to happen now. And I think what we need to do is just make sure our season doesn't fall apart off the back end of this result, because we galvanized after the Brentford result. But this sort of thing will hurt, and I want the players to hurt, because actually, this is also a hangover from the cup. Do you know how many teams go out and win a cup and the following game they go and lose? Now we can look at all the stats on these things. I want to see how they bounce back.
But
that's going to be the big thing.
Couple of points. One that Gary Neville made, like Bruno Fernandes as a captain, he's always moaning, whinging, like making excuses. And he's not the same player as he was in the first season, right?
Also, when he gets hit in the chest, he holds his face. Yeah, it was pathetic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the second point is Anthony, 85 million.
Yep.
I think they've robbed you, mate, big time.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you got Gakpo.
yeah, exactly. For half the price, right? You can't even go past players, and he's a winger. So what's going on there?
But I think this is the thing, right? Anthony hasn't really kicked on. We had Sancho sitting on the bench, right? I don't know why he didn't come on. We've got Garnacho in the form of his life, doesn't play. So I think Ten Hag's got it wrong. And today, Weghorst just, he might as well have been a horse, Weghorst. There's just, there was nothing happening there. So there has to be a plan B. There has to be a plan B with United. And
the striker situation, United will be addressed in the summer. And Josh ain't gonna like it, but
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
Have him at 29 years old.
Well, the guy you need to go after is at Napoli, Victor Osimhen, 24.
Yeah.
He's an absolute beast. 100 million at least. I think Chelsea might be. Chelsea are in for everyone, right? So,
Chelsea are cashing in their crypto as we speak.
Yeah.
So but no, look, I think it's a freak result.
Where do United go from here, G? Because I'm going to pull up the fixtures now.
I think we go and win. That's the only way to answer the critics, right?
Is there a risk of this being a collapse? You've won that cup, the worst. Whatever the worst cup in English.
The Man City Cup
trophy. Yeah. It's still a trophy. Yeah, you won the trophy. Nice day out. Beat Aston Villa. Beat Charlton.
They need to get a bigger cup for that. To be honest, it doesn't feel like that's a big enough cup. It looks like something you'd buy in a Poundland shop, right?
It represents the status of the cup. So this is why it's smaller than the other ones. But do you think? Do you worry about a mini collapse, man? Because you got Real Betis on Thursday, and then 3 days later you got your bogey team Southampton, and then you're traveling to Real Betis, and then you got Fulham at home, Newcastle away. Do you worry about top four, or do you think it's just
I think we'll get top four. Newcastle, as Ricky said, one win in 8. Real Betis, they'll be galvanized as well by looking at this and learning from what Liverpool did. I don't think United can be this bad again. This is the thing. This reminds me of when we hammered Ipswich 9-1. Southampton is our bogey team, and I do worry about Southampton because they're actually a really good team. They're young, they're fast, they play on the press. They're a very good team.
They don't have a manager at the moment, do they?
Well, they have that Spanish guy, don't they? And he's doing pretty well. He beat Chelsea and he's won the last game as well. So I think, yes, we're worried. Will we be worried for top 4? I don't think so. I think we've got enough to take us into top 4.
Are you going to make top 4, Sully, off the back of this, mate? 7-0, man. What more do you need? United are going to be shot of confidence. You've taken all the confidence out of United and sucked it all in.
Couple of shows ago, I said, look, we beat Everton in the derby. That was a big result, right? Newcastle, you can say they were focused on the cup as a good result, and Man City did us a favour over the weekend, getting another result there. So it's 2 results, and then just about managed to beat Wolves. I think this is a big result, massive result for our season, because it's been a disastrous season for a number of reasons. But if we can finish strong and keep going, I think we can reel in United, because we're only beginning of March, and aim for that third place automatic qualifications to the Champions League again.
How many points behind are you right now? Just
with a game in hand, 6.
Okay.
I think we're 6 points behind United, which is nothing, to be honest with you.
Chelsea, Arsenal.
Now I think with Newcastle, Spurs are a bit hot and cold. They win 1 game, lose 2. So I just think the momentum with Liverpool. I think we're out of the Champions League unless a miracle happens, but you never know, right? This is the Champions League. But if we keep going, the clean sheets are important now. 5 clean sheets on the bounce, that's saying something. We're scoring goals, which is important. So, and you can see from the screen now, 4 wins in the last 5, 13 out of 15. The momentum's there. Tottenham 45, Man United 49. It's possible. It depends how United go, how they take it. I think G's right. You go out and you win your next game. Yeah, bad day in the office, you move in. But the thing about the Liverpool United thing is it's a rivalry, and it matters, right? And 7-0 will be 7-0 will be imprinted in their head. Losing, that's bad for United. That's bad for any game.
It's the worst result. So wait for this. It's the worst result since 1931. Put that into
context. What about that 5-1? Was there a 5-1 at the Old Trafford? At Old Trafford.
5-0.
5-0.
It's 5-0.
5-0.
Yeah. But this is 7, and this is the thing. In the last 4 seasons, we've only scored 1 goal at Anfield. That tells you how much of a bogey team Liverpool are for United.